All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today is a live show. We waited a little bit because Jacob Israel was live or had a premiere going, but right now we are going to be talking about some wild stuff. Monkeys actually taking revenge on an entire town after one of their young is taken. Very crazy story out of there. And then, of course, mind control being real. This is crazy stuff, and this is the next conflict. So we'll be right back right after this. And remember, it's live, so don't miss a second. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is happening? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We have an amazing show, really. We have a ton of really crazy articles that we're going to be showing here. And remember, also over on marfooglenews.com, you can sign up for email alerts, and of course, you can get notifications directly from us. If there is a show that goes on a few minutes late, you will get notifications from that the second that we go live. Also, the Twitter is a great place to go to get that as well, which I'm going to be notifying people in just a second here. Now, of course, if you are new here, if this is your first show, we actually try to back up every single article, tweet, video, picture that we show you here today on our website. When you go to tonight's website show, you can go and find it by thumbnail. Mind control is real. And then once you click on that, you will see that it brings you to a bibliography of all of our sources. That way you know exactly where you are getting your stories from, or more so where we are getting them from. Again, then you can retrospectively go back and check our work. You can also search this database. Up in the upper right hand corner, there is a search icon. That way you can search any of our previous shows and any of our previous articles. We have an archive that's now 2 years old, and then you can go back to any of our show 5 nights a week and find a specific article through that. So again, it's very useful. It is free. It's there for you to use. So make sure to use that. And then, of course, down, once it hits the yellow bar, that's a trigger warning. That is the web-only content. That is the stuff that is too hot for TV, the stuff that is getting people knocked off, or stuff that is basically too far to one direction for us to cover, being as neutral as possible. And then on the right side, if you do want to support, we're independent. We don't have a multi-channel network. We don't have a multi-billion-dollar company behind us. We have the Foogle fam and the Marfia. So you guys are our support. Really, again, we are not treated the same as regular channels. So thank you so much for everybody that sticks up for us, and that you guys are basically our soldiers out there. So thank you so much. Let's bring in Dex. Dex is my co-host / internet brother, and tonight he will be joining me on the show. What is going on, Dex, and how are you doing tonight?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing better than I deserve.
I guess that's a good one. Well, let's get right into the news, and then Dex, thank you for joining us tonight. And then let's go right into it. It says significant amounts of water found in Mars. So let me, in fact, hold on here. Just want to make sure we get significant amounts of water found in Mars, massive version of the Grand Canyon. Supposedly, it says that Mars has its own version of the Grand Canyon, and scientists have learned this dramatic feature is home to significant amounts of water after a discovery made by an orbiter circling the red planet, according to the European Space Agency. The ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter, launched in 2016 as a joint mission between the ESA and Roscosmos, between Europe and Russia, detected the water in the Valles Marineris on Mars. This canyon system is 10 times longer, 5 times deeper, and 20 times wider than the Grand Canyon. So it is gigantic. It says the water is located beneath the surface of the canyon system and was detected by the orbiter's FRIEND instrument, or Fine Resolution Epithermal Neutron Detector. This instrument is able to map hydrogen in the top meter of Martian soil. So just throw out any of the... I know that there's doubters here. By the way, it says a composite image of the Valles Marineris. It's never a real image. One thing I don't understand is if there's something circling, why do they always give us these composite images if they can get the tech up there to get just really high quality real photos, right?
Well, is a composite? Isn't that from multiple cameras? Is that as opposed to a rendition? So this would be...
No,
this would be a real picture,
because
right?
they say a composite image of Earth, and sometimes it's rendition. It very well could be, but how would that be a composite image from multiple cameras? I don't know.
Well, I just think that they have a satellite that goes over, and allegedly, there's a satellite that goes over and there's multiple photos, and then they have to piece them together to composite them to make what it would look like from that vantage point. Sort of like when you're looking at three-dimensional Google Earth on a map.
Well, either way, so that photo, it says it is a composite image. So that would be obviously put together a lot of things. Now, when they say composite, they don't say of all... That's a problem people have had with composite images of Earth, is sometimes they're putting animated pictures with real pictures and then they blend the two. That might be why some of the Earth pictures that you see, parts of this over here on the left, it kind of looks like digital animation. Anyways, but by the way, for those that say, it's completely whatever, it's like, well, digital animation's better than this. They could make this look real, more real. Why would they make it look less real? As far as, what Hollywood is doing, it's insane. It says the observations were collected by the orbiter between May 2018 and February 2021. So one thing I think of is, if this is true, just say that this is true and that there's water and there's this huge Grand Canyon and there's water on Mars. Did the elites know this before everybody else? Did they know this, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago? Is this was there a discovery that all of a sudden made everybody want to go to Mars? Would this make it easier to, terraform Mars? It says with the Trace Gas Orbiter, we can look down to 1 meter below this dusty layer and see what's really going on below Mars' surface, and crucially locate water-rich oases that couldn't be detected with previous instruments, said study author Igor Mitrofanov, principal investigator of FRIEND Neutron Telescope, in a statement. It says FRIEND revealed an area of unusually large amounts of hydrogen in the colossal Valles Marineris Canyon system. Assuming that the hydrogen we see is bound into water molecules, as much as 40% of the near-surface material in this region appears to be water. So... like I said, a couple.
That's strange.
Well, it's like every week we are just like completely flipped on our head, and they just keep saying new things. So,
and I think they've said that there's water there, frozen in the poles. I think that's old news in the sense that I think they've always said there's some form of frozen water there. I don't know if it's underground or just at the poles, but this is obviously, if there's going to be a trip there, this is going to be important, because you're going to want to, finding something like this that's just under the surface. It's not that far down. It doesn't require as much drilling for a well, right? So you're going to want to, if you're going to try to, inhabit that place, you're going to want to land near that or set up camp near that, right?
Well, just taking their word at face value. It looks like they're obviously finding out stuff. I just wonder if this is slowly being leaked out as far as to the public. Like, this is information that they've already known for a long time or for a while, and that kind of made them make different decisions. I don't know, though.
Oh, yeah.
It will take a few more years to really, solve this argument that everybody has.
Yeah, in theory, they had this data in 2018, or the earliest they could have had it was 2018. So yeah, they could have been sitting on it for a while.
Well, actually, 2018, isn't that when a lot of the stuff went down? Isn't that when a lot of things happened? I don't know if Space Force was made in 2018. Was it? When was Space Force made?
Shortly after, I think.
Either way, there was a lot of weird in 2018. Geez, that was maybe that was 2017 where the false missile alert and all that stuff went down. The presidential alert, all of that. Still, I can't wait for that movie Don't Look Up comes out, because it has so much weird stuff in there. And I'll do a video on it, because I understand that most people don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But that video, I think, has some very eerie ties to reality. And especially as they release, more and more clips of it, it's really starting to seem like, we've covered what they're saying in the movie, just minus the private conversations in the White House. Really weird. Everything in that movie, from them, laughing and saying, hey, these meteors are worth billions and trillions of dollars. It's weird, because that's what we've been saying for a while. James Payne, I'm usually in bed when you go live, East Coast, but happy to be on tonight. Hey, James Payne, I hope you can stay up for at least a little bit. We have some serious stuff happening, and then really insane stories coming out of other countries. I actually am blown away. I think it's going to change the way people think. To Kudika, thank you so much. Much love to the fam. Catching a live show for the first time in a while. Be safe, be well. Much love, Tuck Pup. Hey, Tuck Pup, I didn't realize that was you. And then Bible Talk for Common People says Antarctica's Roth, both are research station. It says, think they are getting core samples to revive ancient V's and more. Concern too. AS, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Foogle fam. And Simply Pony, I appreciate that. By the way, Operation Liberty or Death, if you guys have not seen that, the remix that Operation Liberty or Death did, the other night, I actually believe it's a he or she, I assume it's a he, they asked to do a remix on one of my shoutros, and they did it, and it just turned out flippin' amazing. I'll play that at the end if we have time. Just blew my mind. It turned my music into something good. Bones, thank you, and Leah and Seth Covington and Mysteries Mystery School, thank you guys for supporting, being the last ones out. It says the metaverse has a groping problem already. It says last week, Meta, the umbrella company formerly known as Facebook, opened up access to its virtual reality social media platform, Horizon Worlds. Early descriptions of the platform make it seem fun and wholesome, drawing comparisons to Minecraft. In Horizon Worlds, up to 20 avatars can get together at a time to explore, hang out, and build within a virtual space. But not everything has been warm and fuzzy. According to Meta, on November 26, a beta tester reported something deeply troubling. She had been grabbed by a stranger on Horizon Worlds. It says on December 1st, Meta revealed that she'd posted her experience in Horizon Worlds beta testing group on Facebook. It says Meta's internal review of the incident found that the beta tester should have used a tool called Safe Zone that's part of a suite of safety features built into Horizon Worlds. Safe Zone is a protective bubble users can activate when feeling threatened. Within it, no one can touch them, talk to them, or interact with them in any way until they signal that they would like the safe zone lifted. You will literally have a bubble.
Her?
Did they what?
Did they just blame her, telling her it's her fault for not using a tool?
Pretty much.
I mean, the way I read that is that you should have done this, as opposed to we're sorry and here's a tool. That just seems kind of silly.
Why is she even okay? But she's complaining. You don't actually get touched. It's it's an avatar walking up and the pixels going like this, and okay, that guy's a weirdo. Leave that game or report that guy, right? But it could have been like an 8-year-old kid, like, like this is a virtual
They've obviously
world.
never played Call of Duty or any of those other things where, the chat room is just insane. I mean, I can't imagine, I can't believe some of the things these kids say in there. So,
dude, I have been abused. If we're talking about Call of Duty, guys will come up before the match and then they'll just start spinning by my crotch. I mean, like, if you've ever played Call of Duty, it, like, you intertwine, and I look down and there's a dude like going like this, and you can tell it's a 13-year-old like moving forward and back, and it's like, okay, but it's in a game. I'm not actually feeling anything. I'm just seeing this dummy with a sprite that is going back and forth, and it's just dumb. It's like, I could see this being a problem down the road. Now they already have things, these packs that you put on that have vibration, and then soon you will have a whole bodysuit. So if somebody does come up and do that, you will actually feel it. It will scrunch your butt, right? If somebody, grabs your butt, it will actually grab your butt. If you get hit with a virtual, bullet, it will hit you like you're getting hit. These are all things that are not only being tested, but are real. They already have these packs, and they have ads for them. And in fact, I saw an ad on my own channel when I was in incognito of one of these audio vibration packs that you put on while you're playing video games. That is something that is, this is just, scraping the surface. They're already designing full suits, full pants. They're designing these ports that you stand in that you can run. They look like the inside of a steel drum, but you stand on them, wear special socks, and then they have you kind of in a brace, and you can run. You can run, and they have places you can actually go and use these things, and you can even go into like what is it called? Like a scary haunted house. And there's videos surfacing of these people in these haunted house situations, and it looks so real, and they can run that people actually get scared and they start running in this thing. This is the future, and this is unfortunately what everybody is going to be doing. I mean, think about, how the older generation didn't want to touch a mouse and a computer. I don't really want to do. I believe that I'm still young, but when this stuff comes along, I don't know if I want to mess with it. I can see how the older generation would look at this new stuff and say, no thanks.
Absolutely. I get it. I kind of feel like my parents used to say when I was talking about the internet, now I'm going to think this way about Meta. But, right now, everyone in our audience can actually experience this whole Meta thing. If they just reach out right below the video and touch Adam's thumb, then they can see what it's like to actually touch Adam. Just take your mouse or your finger and just click that little thumb down there. That's Adam's thumb.
Yeah. This is, by the way, the next part of this is just kind of just dumb. It says, there I was being virtually groped, and it says, when Aaron Stanton heard about the incident at Meta, he was transported to October 2016. That was then a gamer, Jordan Bellemare, penned an open letter on Medium describing being groped on Quiver, a game Stanton co-designed in which players equipped with bows and arrows shoot zombies. It's like people are so offended by everything. Now, this is, you could do that, but if there's a game where you can touch and pick up everything, then I could see this avatar coming up and grabbing a virtual avatar's booty, right? But I was just thinking before the show, because I was wearing my shirt I got at Target. It just says no bad vibes or whatever. But that word vibes, I keep thinking about, and everybody keeps talking about vibes, like you're ruining their vibe. That vibe thing has gotten important because it is now, it's literally how people think now. You can't offend anybody. It's more than just like how everybody's kind of mad about how everybody's so easily offended. They've turned it into a brainwashing thing where now you can't speak out. You can't be dissenting of any ideas because you're hurting somebody's vibe. You're bringing their and now I hear a ton, even radio show hosts saying that people are on low low vibrations and stuff. They don't actually know about the vibration and frequencies and stuff. They're just quoting some stuff that they heard. And they were talking about a postman that got fired for not delivering to certain people that had a flag in their lawn. And it's like, all these people are just so offended, but they don't realize that they're losing their basic rights because they're going along with this stupid ploy. This is going to make it even worse. When you're talking about a virtual world, they're going to start all these different rules on the internet and on these games. And it's only going to further hurt our freedoms and our rights and everything else. So, yeah. What do you think? Tell me in the comments down below. Dorothy Tucker says, Twisted Luck made it to 5,000. Thanks, Marv. I hope that he makes it further than that. We just posted a video. Make sure to go check it out on Marfoogle News. We did a highlight reel of that video. And he got more than 1,000 that first night. So that is really awesome. I'm praying that he does well on YouTube, and I hope that he keeps going with it. I hope he also realizes, too, it's not always going to be good. It's a complete roller coaster. Susan Donahue with many thanks and much love. Hashtag Team Humanity. Hey, thank you, Susan Donahue. I appreciate that, and thank you, and nice to have you here tonight. Hopefully it's early enough. And then this one is pretty crazy. It says, China's latest electromagnetic pulse weapon experiment shot down an unmanned aircraft. After the upgrade, it will be on par with the United States. So, Dex, do you want to talk about this as far as, this is a huge milestone for their technology.
Well, yeah, we were just talking about our own ships shooting down things. Well, actually, in this case, it was shooting in the water, a floating craft, and we've seen them take out other things. I think we've even tested EMPs against multiple drones where we've fired that. So, to see this type of activity from, our adversary really just, it goes back to the point that I think a lot of our military leaders are saying, a lot of former government officials and military are saying, is that, we've been underestimating the advancement that China has. I mean, sure, there's going to be things where they're just not as good, but there are plenty of things, and especially things that matter, where they are developing technology that they more than likely got from us in some way, shape, or form, and then improving upon that and making it better. And let's, this is not a notion that they can't have educated people because they're not us. I mean, that's just stupid to think that they don't have the education, the experience, the ability to especially take something that they've been given or something that they may have stolen and improve upon it and make it better. So matter of fact, I think they spend far more time in education and development on that than we typically do in America. So I would just put this as yet another example, a very important example of what they can do and what technology they have, and how important it is for us to recognize that as they're growing to be the superpower that they want to be.
Well, I also want to point out, I don't know if you noticed one of the pictures here of one of these pieces of equipment. Now, I believe this is the U.S. side of it. This may be an example from our side, but this was using essentially a container. And we have now seen at least 5 or 6 types of serious, and I'm talking about serious weapons like missile launchers, and we know that they are making ICBM launchers, nukes, as far as, big as a 40-yarder container. This is a container, essentially, and then it unfolds and unsheathed this crazy EMP weapon. So this is something that if we have, they have, and this absolutely proves that they have this kind of type of technology. So if we send swarms of our drones or unmanned aircraft, they can knock it down. This also shows that they're moving forward with EMP technology. This is something that they already have, a super EMP that could knock our grid down. Now they have FOBs, the orbital bombardment system. So I mean, like this is crazy. They're ahead of us in some ways, and then they're tying with us on the defensive part. So this is not good. We don't want to be anywhere close to them on the same level. But as far as this goes, I want to point out that container. Think about how backed up and how we still have this issue, but nobody's talking about it anymore. Dex, don't you think it's weird that nobody's talking about it, even though locals are looking out at all these ships and the same problem is happening right now, but it's like nobody notices because Target, Walmart, and Costco all have their own ships bringing in stuff. So nobody cares that some boats have been there for 4 months and have not unloaded.
That's crazy to think. And I've seen and heard anecdotally from others that it's getting worse. It's not even getting better. And we've also reported a few shows back that one of the things they were doing was moving the ships further out, so they weren't close to shore and people could see them. So they were backing up further out. So I think that is all just part of this notion of trying to hide the problem or not, exasperate the problem in the minds of the people. But this is a big deal, and these container ships backing up everywhere, and not only that, they're going everywhere. So when they can't get into one port, then they start shuffling them around to other ports. Some of them will go to the East Coast and into the up north where you are, and some will head down into on the Gulf side, so into Florida and into Texas.
Well, there's also pictures too.
Pretty much surrounded by ports, right?
Yeah, exactly. And to bring back to that, there's the fact that there's pictures being posted of around the kind of outlet of all of the ships that are just out of view. So the people that own houses on some of those influential areas right there, they have pictures of these boats that are basically being taken out to the water and anchored where you can't see it from the main city. So it appears that there's less, but like Dex said, they're just moving them farther, farther from inland. That's scary to me. So there's still boats since before this whole thing with the container ship backup are still not unloaded. Any one of those could be an EMP system for defensive capabilities or offensive capabilities. Most likely, though, they would have missile launchers and or they would have equipment. You have to remember, too, that China-owned company is a huge part of that port. So that Chinese-owned company that has direct ties with the Chinese government, that is running the intake. Think about that. They could bring it in, and of course, they probably have some sort of setup. Maybe they have a custom guy there, or maybe 5 or 10. I don't know how many U.S. employees work at that place. I would assume that they would have to have that, but it would be pretty shocking if they didn't. But if something came in, who's detecting if it has anything bad on it? Do we have a system after? In fact, I bet you they do. I bet somebody will say after it comes in the Chinese port, then it has to go through a U.S.-owned kind of filter or something. It should. If it doesn't, that would be absolutely insane. It probably has to go through customs, right? But who cares? If you have something that can launch from a cargo boat, who needs to go through customs? You can park it, 10 miles out, and it will still be effective. It could still launch an ICBM. You have to remember, all they have to do is be able to get the ICBM upwards, and then the ICBM does the rest. The rocket does everything. It doesn't have to launch it. The rocket goes out and launches itself. So, pretty crazy stuff. I am just pretty alarmed by seeing how many of these weapons are container-based. Thinking about the current situation, thinking about the last 2 years, thinking about all the scandals, and thinking about how our social media has turned everyone on each other. I mean, it's really obvious to me that there are super agendas butting heads right now. And who knows, maybe the super agendas butting heads are actually all one big show to distract while they do things in the background. They're changing the entire world. Very soon, we are not going to have freedoms, mark my words, unless people completely and utterly stand up. I mean, it's pretty nuts. Cray Tiff Diamond, thank you for your support. Thanks for the massive support, Susan Donahue and Cray Tiff Diamond and Tuck Pup. And then Delaware Sasquatch, imagine container ships off our coast with those basically using those to keep us at bay. That's what I'm saying. What if we launched swarms of drones and then 10 feet out in the water, there's something that can take them down? Think about that as a defensive measure. If we send anything and they have an EMP weapon that could take a missile out of the sky, I would assume that EMP could work on some of the guidance systems. Don't know. All right, and then let's see here. If just a reminder, if you do want to go, this is a plug for us and for you. If you don't have your preps together, then I highly recommend you do. We've shown you exactly why we think that this is an important thing to do. But again, you can go and get the essentials of life from My Patriot Supply. What this does is this is a one-stop shop for almost everything prep. There's long-term survival food. There is pretty much anything and everything as far as gadgets, survival stuff, survival first aid kits, everything is right there. Again, it's high-quality stuff, and you get a discount on some of this when you use our code. For instance, $100 off on a 3-month supply of food, which you can store long term. Now, the prices on these things and the discounts are really starting to go away almost everywhere. That is because this industry is going up so fast. People are basically everyone is a prepper now after CV. So the best time to buy this is yesterday. Like I've said many times, the prices are only going up. We are heading into inflation, according to many experts. So highly recommend you getting it. It doesn't make a difference whether you get it to us today, yesterday, tomorrow, but it will make a difference to you. So if you want to get long-term food and stuff you can store for 5 years, 10 years, then I would highly recommend going over as soon as possible. Marfooglenews.com/prep. I thank everyone that goes over there and uses our link. Again, most of the time it gets you a discount, but at the same time, you are also helping our channel. They end up giving us a commission when we send you over there, and that helps us. That helps me pay Dex. That helps us run the show. So I appreciate everybody that does that. All right, and then moving on to the next piece here, we have Chinese Kaizhou 1A rocket fails after launch. 2 satellites lost. So it says a Kaizhou 1A solid rocket by Chinese commercial company X Space. Did they really call it X Space? Like SpaceX, only backwards. It says failed to make it to orbit Tuesday, taking 2 commercial satellites with it during its demise. So when you hear this first paragraph, what do you guys think? Dex, what do you think about this? The first thing I thought was, okay, so they're taking satellites down somehow, and they're going to say so what do you think about this?
Well, yeah, so they lost 2 satellites in the spaceship that was taken off. I think, the first thing most people are going to think of or a story like this is, oh yeah, don't worry about Chinese technology. They can't even launch into space, right? And I think that's probably the one thing you don't want to take into consideration, given the story we were just talking about before and all the other things we reported. But definitely, this is interesting because it's, we don't know what was on what was on that payload, why those 2 satellites were, were they important? Were they something, that was maybe looked at from us or others as
did we sabotage it
up in the sky? Did we sabotage? Yeah, did something happen to it? Like something intentional, right? That's definitely a good question to be asking and looking into.
So we just covered that it was China that had the arm, right? Or was it China that had the satellite with an arm?
Yeah, Russia is the one with the arm.
Satellite has a laser then, or China has a laser then, right? China had a system that would take down satellites as well.
Yes,
and I believe it was a laser. So this failing. One thing I think of again is was this on accident or was this on purpose? Was this a sabotage? Did the U.S. know of information? Were these 2 satellites meant to take down our satellites and start the conflict? I know that sounds crazy and way over the top, but we're at that time right now. We're in that the 2-month period. We're in December, almost close to January. They say that Russia is possibly going to take Ukraine in January or February. That very well could be the start of WW3. Their closest ally, China, is getting ready to take Taiwan. They would do it at the same time. So looking at if Russia is going to take Ukraine at that time, it's logistically smart for them to both do it at the same time because it would split up our military because they're incredibly close allies. We've been talking about this all week, how close they really, really are. Shoot, Xi Jinping and Putin have met 38 times or 36 times in the middle, 37 times in the last few years. That's a lot since 2000. I want to say 2012 or 2011. No, it was 8 years. So 21 since 2013. So in 8 years, they've met that many times. They're obviously in, cahoots, and they're trying to plan something. So if that is the case, what was on these satellites? And of course, it's China. So we don't, this isn't stuff that's going to be public. But did it fail because it's made in China? Or did it fail because something was made in the USA? This is something that is something you got to follow. You got to follow the little stuff, because these little things end up being something later down the road. And we already know that. We've seen that, where later on, one of the stories, the little tiny stories that we cover, they'll end up releasing, declassifying something, and they'll tell us that it was way bigger than we thought. What was that, Dex?
Anytime China or Russia, for that matter, launches into space, we should be paying attention. And when I say we, I mean like our government, our military, right? Because, if they were to want to launch an EMP or that hypersonic glide vehicle, right, it is a space launch. It takes off and it looks just like something that they would be launching into orbit. It would look like a satellite launch, just like this one that went down, right? This could very well be a FOBS takeoff that was, denied by someone, or it could have just been a malfunction on their, space program. Either way, we need to be paying attention when that happens, because if they ever do that and they do it from the ground, it's going to look like a space launch, and it's going to go up into orbit like a space launch, and we won't know it because it'll come around through the south.
Well, and another thing, it says that the two commercial satellites didn't make it to orbit. What if they were on purpose, supposed to drop off of the rocket before reaching full orbit, right? What if these were some sort of other technology that's supposed to go into low Earth orbit, or were supposed to drop off, kind of like the balloons? What if they ended up, having a balloon come out of it, and they were that kind of system? We talked about that the U.S., have a system that they're trying to launch, which are these internet satellite balloons that would just basically fly at the very top of our atmosphere, and they would be to serve us communications in lieu if everything else goes down, which, again, is kind of freaky that they're planning on that, or trying to plan it. That Gen X dude says a Russian has shot and taken a Ukrainian soldier. Google it today. I believe we should have that. If we don't, we can add that. But I believe that they have been taking lives this whole time for 7 years. They've been shelling each other.
Yeah, it wasn't Russia that did it. It was Russian-backed
separatists,
people in the Ukraine that are pro-Russia, right? Like there's a small section that's mostly near Crimea, near the Russian borders, where they are for Russia, but they live in Ukraine, so they constantly battle there. That's not to diminish the fact that this made news and it's out there, and I'll find the article because I think it may be covered in one of the other ones, but nonetheless, we'll put it up there. But yeah, this kind of stuff does happen there. There's, I remember we were reporting shelling, and it was like, whoa, there's always shelling there. Well, yeah, sort of there was. It was just a bigger deal when Russia's sitting at the border. But there is with these separatists, if you want to call them that, or these other people that are against the Ukraine government but live in the Ukraine.
And they have been at war since Crimea. So, the separatists, right? It's kind of like they're in conflict with themselves in Ukraine as well, because of those people with whatever ties with Russia they actually have, or if they're just fighting for their own beliefs or what, But yeah, there's been many deaths actually that the news doesn't really cover. Because over there, it's basically, it's something that just continues to go on. Merry Xmas Fugel fam, magnetic pole shift January. Southern Yankee Kelly Joe says, magnetic pole shift January. Well, I sure hope not, but you never know. Bones, thank you, and thank you. Again, you don't have to do that. Thank you for your support. I appreciate that, Bones. If you guys haven't checked out our mod Bones' channel, he does some really great stuff. He has trucked all over the states, and he's gotten some really interesting stuff on his channel. And then Nelmy Brown says, aloha from Maui. Merry Christmas. Well, mahalo to you. I think that means thank you. So aloha as well. East Tennessee Preparedness says, just bought 1/4 pound of beef from a buddy at work. $3.66 a pound Black Angus beef, hamburger ribs, steaks, and roasts. Check your local beef growers. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, you can get it cheaper from the actual growers. Shayla Somerville, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Foogle fam. And then Susan from Alaska, thank you as well for supporting. Thanks for supporting Independent. And then we have China has mind control weapons and isn't afraid to use them, warns U.S. government. So we talked about this yesterday, and then, of course, we talked about this a few months ago. And what's funny is Independent News was ahead of this. Even Serpent ZA was ahead of the mainstream on this because of the documents that people found. And really, I believe that it really came from the people in audiences, you guys out there, probably the people that watched Serpent ZA and ended up, tipping him off to that. There were documents that were put out, and essentially there were articles and pieces put out that shows that they are working on genetic specific weapons. We're talking about you could target a specific RACE of people. If you understand that, you could literally target a certain shade of person. That is absolutely terrifying. Not only that, you can control their mind. And we're not talking about brainwashing with symbolism and subverted messages and all that and subliminal messaging. We're talking about physically controlling their brain. This is happening. This is not sci-fi anymore, and this is a possible bioweapon. No joke, and we have the proof to back this up. Not only that, U.S. Government is now saying that they are not afraid to use them. It says China is allegedly in possession of some highly dangerous brain control weaponry that has left U.S. officials quaking in their boots. The U.S. Commerce Department has blacklisted 33 organizations from China, including the Academy of Military Medical Sciences, because of the government department claimed that AMMS and its 11 research institute use biotechnology processes to support Chinese military end uses and end users, to include purported brain control weaponry. It said that this brain control weaponry was contrary to U.S. national security interests, but didn't provide any more details on it. What the so-called thing was, right? It says John Ratcliffe, the former U.S. Director of National Intelligence, has also previously warned that China is performing human testing on its soldiers to develop biologically enhanced capabilities. We are watching a science fiction movie. Only imagine a super soldier that doesn't feel pain, that can take 8 shots and just keeps running. He will actually perish, but guess what? His brain is going to keep his body going until the last second. We're talking about super soldiers. We're talking about, almost a Terminator here. And who knows? They have also experimented. Last year, we covered that they were putting different kinds of metals in humans over there. We're talking about actually possibly seeing a Terminator, or more of a human, what do they call it? Android, or a biologically fused human. This is insanity. It says biologically enhanced capabilities, which could be just like the Avengers. I mean, they're actually saying this stuff. It says, however, he has been accused of being a conspiracy theorist. As it was revealed, he follows the Twitter accounts. This is a dangerous, growing conspiracy which purports the world is being run by a secret. Come out. I'm not even going to read this bull crap. Drinking children's obtain. Yeah, okay. Why do they always have to include that? That's not the big part of it, by the way.
It's like, let's just diminish everything else that's in here. Let's diminish it with that one paragraph. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
try to look at anything silly. Yeah, and what does that have to do with the actual documents that came out? By the way, this is Ratcliffe, right? These are actual officials.
Well, and it's our officials acting already by shutting down 33, different, organizations. So it's not, these people don't just do that on a whim.
No, it says China is quite open about its research into new technologies. The PLA has previously published research into the use of neuroscience in war, such as drugs, psychological warfare, and brain-computer interfaces. They're working on the same thing that Elon is, only they have no bureaucracy stopping them from testing on humans at any point. And I bet you we don't either. I bet you we are secretly testing on humans because we have to. Otherwise, we're completely going to fall behind China. The reason why China can take a human out of their jails, which they do, and they can do experiments on them. You know what's really going to be sick is in 1,000 years, if we are still around, they'll end up finding out all of the experiments that China has done on people for years and years and years, and other countries too. There are countries like that have no rules. Go ahead.
Yeah, here's a crazy thought, and it's just a thought. It's no facts in this. What if a 3-letter agency of our country used China for years to conduct the experiments they needed because they knew China would do it, and then China keeps the tech and doesn't give it back?
That would be I don't even think that sounds crazy. Look at what happened with, I don't know. I mean, look at the last 2 years of events, right? Who knows? Because, and sometimes we actually fund things that go on in that country. Even though they do human testing, it's kind of like we help them do this. Oh, and then our biggest, so every country has a GDP, and it's kind of like, you got number one, number two. China and US are number one in GDP for the whole world. You would think Russia would be third or some other, but it's not. You know who's the third highest in overall GDP, like the money that they have under their control? It's not Russia. It's not any European country. It's BlackRock. BlackRock, the investing firm, has more money. Get this, not just in a couple countries, all of the other countries in the world combined. This is a real fact. BlackRock has more money than all of the countries in the world, minus China and the US. You take out China and US, put them over to the side. Take Russia and every European country and every GDP. BlackRock has more money than that. So BlackRock is number 3, only next to China and the US. In fact, I don't know if BlackRock has more than the US or more than China, but I do know that it has more money than every other country combined. And guess where that money comes from? Your retirement funds, the stuff that you invest in, all the fees, all the stuff from your retirements, all that stuff, that's been going to them. They control that money.
The U.S. was 22.67 trillion GDP. China was 16.64 GDP, and then BlackRock would be about $9.5 trillion in portfolio. And the next one would be Japan, which is 5.37 trillion GDP. So yeah, just to back you up.
That is insanity. So Japan plus all of the other countries in the world isn't even as much as what BlackRock runs. So I just want you to think about that when BlackRock has heavily invested and told everything to go invest in China. That's basically like saying the third most powerful country in the world is putting its money on China. And they're doing this. They're testing on humans. And we know that. Like, besides the whole propaganda that we probably put out, we know for a fact they test on humans. They have said it. So, and they can take a prisoner out of jail. If somebody's serving life, they've taken their organs. This is a fact. They've admitted it. They didn't want to at first, but then they got caught, and then they said, well, it's only in certain circumstances and this and that. But guess what? Will that make them actually get ahead? It possibly could. But that's to say that we aren't doing that. If we would just be doing it more secretively. We know that the U.S. government and the CIA and all of these things, they've all done stuff to people. All of them. Look at the stuff from, JFK that came out as far as like the, and then the early government using acid and making people trip out on acid to do kind of the same kind of stuff. They were trying to make super soldiers. Germany did it. Hitler did it. I mean, like, there's all sorts of stuff that has happened in the past. But now it's happening. It's real. It says it is also not as if the U.S. is not developing these technologies either. Elon Musk's Neuralink is trying to build mind-controlled computer interfaces which could be implanted into people's brains. This would allow them to control technology using the power of thought alone. But think about this, is if you have a locked freezer at the grocery store and you can unlock it with your brain. Oh, it's convenient. It's awesome. But what if you don't have it? This is what people don't realize. People are idiots, and I don't say that lightly. People are idiots because if they don't see what's happening here. It's really scary. People need to start standing up for themselves. And this is why you can't have people get together. You have to have them as divided as possible. Mind control. What do you guys think about this? I'm gonna go over to the chat and let's do a poll. Let me ask you this. Do you think that mind control is already being used or already exists? Or 2, do you think that we're close? Or 3, do you think we're still down the road from it? Do you, and by 1, like it's already being used, do you think that they are already doing this and they have it done? 2, that we're very close? And 3, that you still think it's down the road or won't exist? And I'll turn this on here. Thank you, everybody. 0670 Bedford Street, thank you. That Gen X dude, what about the Cuba incident? Sickness, headaches? Yep, that we've again that whole incident. I think that's a simple weapon compared to some of this other stuff. That would be like a frequency, and then it can really screw people up. I don't think that's mind control though. I think that's like more of just a harmful thing. A lot of ones. Oh my gosh. Did you see that comment, Dex? Somebody said they're telling me to say 3. That was pretty smart. That was good. China is telling me to say 3. It doesn't exist. Sorry I covered that. Just erase that from your minds. I like China. They are my friends.
I'm typing that into the system right now.
Dex is a great guy.
Reprogramming Adam.
And no, it's not buffering. Let's move on. Reality Flow says, God is on your side. Do what you can to inspire others to turn to him. Thank you for the comment. I agree with you. And then defense contractor arrested in alleged attempt to send information to Russia. So a spy, essentially here, it says a former defense contractor was arrested Wednesday evening in South Dakota on alleged attempt to send information to Russia, the Justice Department said. John Murray Rowe Jr. of Lead, South Dakota, is charged with attempting to communicate national defense information to aid a foreign government. The agency said in a statement he faces up to a life sentence in prison if convicted. Rowe, who is originally from Massachusetts, was a test engineer for nearly 40 years for multiple defense contractors. So this is kind of a freaky thing, though, too, because that means I wonder what he communicated with them, and why do they need this right now? It says, according to an affidavit, Rowe worked for 4 contractors between 2004 and 2018. He was terminated from employment for multiple security violations, including inquiring about obtaining a security clearance from the Russian government. It says the FBI began investigating based on his past conduct. It said Rowe allegedly met with an undercover FBI employee who was posing as an agent of the Russian government in March 2020 and made multiple disclosures during the meeting about national defense information regarding the Air Force, the affidavit states. It says for 8 months following that meeting, Rowe allegedly exchanged over 300 emails with the undercover agent in which he expressed a willingness to work for the Russian government and discuss knowledge of classified information. In one email, for instance, Rowe is alleged to have discussed classified information about specific operating details of electronic countermeasure systems used by military fighter jets. Electronic countermeasures. Again, this is like, it's weird because it was the FBI asking him this stuff, right? It says he indicated a month later that he planned to travel to Pennsylvania after the election. Per the affidavit, later in November 2020, Rowe allegedly said in the email that he found classified documents that he took from an unnamed defense contractor and U.S. agency. It says Rowe is scheduled to make his first court appearance in Pennsylvania federal court on Friday. An attorney for Rowe is not listed in court records. Yeah, I bet.
Well, they're not going to tell us what it is because it's classified, obviously, but it sure makes you wonder, especially along the lines of, what you talked about with electronic, countermeasures and warfare there. So, yeah. This is another potentially could be damaging, action that has happened. And this is not the only one. This stuff happens all the time. This is one that got caught, right? This is how China and Russia get the technology they get. This is how they get the intel and information they get. We do the same to them, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. We've probably got spies over there at all times of the day. All right. Before we move on, I do want to remind you all, if you have not already, this is something that we actually believe in wholeheartedly. We think that if everyone had one of these, that the whole world would be a whole safer place. If you have not discovered the EMP Shield yet, or if you're new here, what an EMP Shield does for your devices, your car, your home, or whatever you end up wanting to protect, it ends up protecting 100% against EMP, all three phases. Again, it can also protect you for CMEs up to 228,000 amps. Or again, it can protect you against a Carrington level event if we have a CME or a coronal mass ejection. And it also protects your house, car, or any other object that you want protected and get a device for against lightning. In fact, they have a 100% lightning guarantee backed by $25,000 no questions asked insurance policy. Again, this is the same company that DHS, DOD, and other agencies, three-letter agencies, are now using. In fact, they had new contracts in, I believe, 2018 with the T-Man administration. And then, in fact, they are now on the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid, which is separate. So they're pretty much involved with the entire country as far as trying to help the government protect its infrastructure. They also make civilian devices, and that's the huge thing here, is that you can actually protect your home, your RV, your car, again, if you don't want to be stuck somewhere after an EMP happens, or multiple EMPs, or you can even protect your solar generator, your solar system. You can protect pretty much anything that you don't want to be fried, don't want to have fried with this, and you can do it by going to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Not only this, though, I guess the kind of why it's a good time now is because they are doing their Christmas sale on top of our discount. So you automatically get our $50 off, and then that stacks with their Christmas sale, which is a stacking sale, which the more you get, the more you save. You can get up to $100 off when you buy several devices. Again, that is up to you. marfooglenews.com/EMP. It's 100% American made, and it's a veteran-owned business. Not only that, you'll be supporting our show. So thank you to everybody that has already done so. And again, thank you, and make sure to tell your friends about it as well. This is something that I believe if everyone had, the entire world would be safer. But again, nobody's gonna come save you. It's going to be up to us to be able to save ourselves. All right, and then Dex, let's move on to, of course, basically saying that this is a third world war. Russian official declares cyber war already in full swing. I mean, how many people is this that are saying that we're already in WW3?
Yeah, I mean, every day we hear it, right? But in this case, we're hearing it from, hearing it from the Russian side, but this is going back to the topic that we've been saying for a long time, is that the notion of a cyber event or cyber warfare has been going on. And, we've even said before, like, it's sort of obvious that this has been in play, and it's sort of, you could easily have called it a full-blown conflict for the last, many years, but more so the last year or two.
Well, and then we had Space Force commander. We had two different Space Force high-ranking officials come out and say that it is straight up a WW3 above our heads, and we don't even know it. And actually, I wonder sometimes about all of the stuff that's coming in our atmosphere and how all of a sudden the meteor sightings and the things coming in. What if those are actually things getting knocked out of the sky, and that is what's causing all these random outages and downs of this, downs of that? Very freaky stuff. Lynn Jones, what's going on? Elmar $500. What's going on? That is 5. Oh, Kevin Svensson Crypto. You know what? I guarantee you that was most likely an accident. I'm a victim of a non-consensual neuroweapons testing myself. I live in the United States. I'm a successful investor and entrepreneur. Everyone is going to be the target of this technology very soon. I've experienced remote torture and cyber torture. It's real. I actually believe that. I know that cyber torture and I know that, people can just absolutely terrify you and tear your family apart and everything else. So I believe you. Kevin Svensson, I believe that was most likely an accident. You can, don't worry though. It takes them like a month and a half to get it to us, and that there's a reason why. If there's accidents like that.
He said it's not an accident in chat.
Okay. Okay. Well, you shouldn't even do that. Again, if you don't, that's like, I think that is the biggest one. If that is true. Again, I'm not going to hate you, though, if after the show you need to go to YouTube and undo that. I don't want, I get you say you're a successful investor and entrepreneur, but that's crazy too much. Thank you, Kevin Svensson Crypto. Again, you can go to YouTube and they will undo that. I'm not going to hate you for it, and I won't say anything. Bible talk for common people. They are laughing while they turn men into hairdressers. That's the real pandemic. Kevin, again, that's insane. I think I think that would be the most, though, ever. Super chat, a $500 super chat. That's too much. I wouldn't even want to take that. If you're secretly Elon Musk, I'll be okay with that. But, again, yeah, thank you, Kevin. That's huge. And then U.S. to consider Russia's NATO proposal, but calls demands unacceptable. Let's see here. And then it says the Russian government released the draft of a new treaty proposal with NATO that would rule out eastward expansion and all military activity in former Soviet republics as a threat of another Russian invasion of Ukraine looms over Europe. Dex, do you...
Yeah, so a lot's been going on the last day or two. There's been a lot of discussion about Ukraine going into NATO and becoming a part of it. NATO has said, hey, we're backing them, but they're not necessarily in. They're just in sort of an apprentice type, level. They're not like in NATO. Of course, Russia is adamantly against this, right? So they came out and said, hey, this is our negotiation. We want everything that we're asking for, which includes you promise that Ukraine will not go into NATO, along with a whole bunch of other things that they're asking for. And now we're reacting to that negotiation. So, even our current president had said that, he made a statement saying that whether or not Ukraine would become part of NATO was really up to the Ukraine. I don't know what he meant by that, but I don't always understand everything he says. But I think how I would read that is it was part of like, do they participate in more along this a peace process to resolve the conflict versus just going head to head, in conflict over Russia being at the border. But then he also said they welcome listening to and talking through this negotiation. But there's plenty of things that are in the demands from Russia that are just completely off the table. There's no way we would accept them.
Well, it's obviously we are so close to something that we can smell it. We're going to keep watching all of this. It says the Russian government released the draft of a new treaty proposal with NATO that would rule out eastward expansion and all military activity in former Soviet republics as the threat of another Russian invasion of Ukraine looms over Europe. It says why it matters, the U.S. and its European allies have warned of massive consequences if Russia proceeds with an invasion, but have signaled that they are open to security negotiations with Moscow as a way to de-escalate a potentially devastating conflict. It says Russia's demands, which experts characterize as maximalist and unlikely to be accepted, include the following legal commitments from the U.S. and NATO. That between the lines that the U.S. and NATO allies have increased their military presence and activities in the alliance's eastern flank since Russia's previous invasion of Ukraine in 2014, that the B administration has warned that will only increase if Russia invaded again. The big picture, with more than 100,000 Russian troops massed on the border, the Ukrainian government is urgently lobbying for additional military assistance and preemptive sanctions from the U.S. to deter an invasion. Basically, before they even say anything, because they're lined up there, we want them to do something about this. Just nuts. So we're watching it very closely. Basically, right now, we are on the precipice of something huge. And then this is what I said will blow people's minds. Okay, Dex, the first thing I thought when I saw this was just like that there's a whole nother world, and I believe that maybe animals, obviously animals speak to each other. They talk. Whales, some of the whales have the hugest brains in the world. In fact, bigger than any animal in the world, I think, is the sperm whale or something. You just wonder, and then they send these messages 200 miles underwater. With monkeys, they say that we're closely related. I just wonder if we'll ever see if there's a way for evolution and evolution to actually happen as well as other theories as well. It's like, what if we saw monkeys evolve in front of us? It makes you question. This is nuts. So, understandably, monkeys are incredibly intelligent. It said enraged monkey kills Indian town's entire population of 250 dogs by throwing them from the heights. And why? It says because it was in revenge after pups killed one of their infants. It says enraged monkeys have killed an Indian town's entire population of around 250 dogs by dragging them to tops of buildings and trees and dropping them. Now, if you haven't seen some of these towns in India, they're everywhere. They're on the power lines. They're on lines. They cross clotheslines. They're everywhere. It's to the point, like, if there's a tourist in that city, they warn you that these things will come up. They'll grab your sunglasses, they'll grab your stuff. It's not a fun thing. It's like they're pests there. But they run rampant in some of these towns. One of the dogs killed one of their baby monkeys, and the entire community of monkeys lashed out and went through the entire town and grabbed every dog and took it up to a building and threw it off the roof. This is out of a movie. Could you imagine living there and seeing these monkeys go through town and hunt them down? This says something to me. Like, this is just, we're far beyond end times right now. We're living it. This is just craziness. I mean, Dex, is that not terrifying?
Well, yeah, and it's escalating from there. So as we get through the rest of the article, you'll see where the monkeys are going next and what they're doing next, and it's kind of crazy.
I'm trying to find where it changes over. It says other footage, possibly of the incident that sparked the revenge attack, showed dogs chasing monkeys through the village as local women and children ran for safety. The dogs appeared to be protecting a child. It says residents of the village contacted officials at the forest department asking if they would round up the murderous animals. However, when officers were sent to the village, they were unable to catch even one monkey. According to the villagers, the monkeys are taking revenge. They say that the violence erupted when some of the dogs killed a baby monkey. It says after the officials failed to deal with the problems, villagers reportedly took it upon themselves to try to save the dogs. It says, but when they did, the monkeys fought back against their efforts, and the news station reporting some men even fell from heights themselves when trying to save dogs that had been dragged there. Clearly not content with the extermination of the dogs in the village, monkeys are now said to be going after young children. School children are reportedly being attacked by the monkeys, creating a further sense of panic among the villagers. In one reported instance, an 8-year-old was grabbed and dragged by the monkeys, forcing villagers to throw stones at them to clear them off. This is horribly, just absolutely insane. We are living in a sci-fi movie. I mean, it's not even the same world. I can't even describe this insane world. What do you say to this? Like, Operation Liberty or Death. By the way, man, amazing job. You took my music and made it good. Absolutely blew me away. I loved how you should take, man, maybe you could take more of our stuff and do that. That would be really cool. If I have something that is good, you take it and make it better. That was amazing. You are really talented. And then the way you mixed it and stuff. Again, we'll play that here in a minute. But yeah, Dex, this is nuts.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I've seen tourist destinations like in, I don't know, I've not been there, but like Costa Rica and other places where there are monkeys, right? And you have to deal with the fact that they're there. I've never been to a place where it's like that. But I could see how that would be a little annoying. But then this is like a whole new level. Like, you're scared of losing your pets, losing your children, and then you're having to fight against, a gang of monkeys. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and well, once the children kind of got involved, that's pretty nuts. That's where now you're going to see this town basically take out all of them. One second here. And then Dex, would you like to talk about of course the kind of the crazier stuff here?
Absolutely. So if you guys head over to marfooglenews.com, to our website, and click on the thumbnail for the show, you will find everything else. And when you scroll down to a web-only content, it says web-only because it's only on the web. It's not something we're necessarily reporting here. Lots going on. We try to keep this updated every day when we're doing the shows, so go take a look. Some new stuff from Project V is out there. Another person from CNN is being accused, so take a look. That's a really interesting one. Some things that were happening in the schools. Don't necessarily want to talk specifically about that, but stuff going on with TikTok, so you can go take a look there. And plenty more. Some videos from other agencies, and some updates on some of the drug problems and other things happening in the world. Take a look, marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show, scroll down to web-only content, and those of you on YouTube, just open up the description. You'll find the first link will take you to the show notes for this show.
And then I do want to remind you, if you have not already, make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/offgrid. By the way, we are very close to 200,000 on our main channel. Dex, where are we at right now? Do we have the exact number? By the way,
I'm pulling it up. Hang on.
If you are not already subscribed, we're going to be doing a giveaway over there, and it will be
32 away.
It will be free to enter. Basically, we're going to be giving a few $100 bag away. The reason why the bag is so expensive is because it is not only made for a very specific reason, it is one of the highest quality bags I've ever seen. In the backpack or duffel bag that I'll be giving away, depends on whatever the person's choice will be. The backpack has a slot for every electronic basically you would have. Your laptop, your tablet, your phone, your key fobs. It has a different custom bag that cannot be tracked, traced, and it protects it against any kind of electromagnetic stuff. So it's basically a Faraday bag for everything, and it's built into each pocket of the bag. It's amazing. I would pick the backpack if I was anybody, but the duffel bag is one big Faraday bag. So that's also a cool thing. You could put, 50 things in there and it would be protected. So again, if you have not subscribed already, go over to Marfoogle News, the main channel. It is about to hit 200,000, which is absolutely mind-blowing. It's a huge milestone. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Again, thank you to our supporters tonight. Again, Kevin, I put a message there in chat. Thank you, and appreciate each and every one of you that are here tonight. Thank you, and thank you. Again, me, Dex and I basically do this, just me and him, and then the mods do an amazing job dealing with the majority of people in chat. So again, give up a big round of applause for your mods. Let's get an M in the chat for the mods. And if you have a specific mod that you think is awesome, make sure to shout them out on both channels. Now, over on DLive, very special shout out to King5583 and Divine1122. Lisa K23 says, has anyone seen my satellite? Lisa K23, love the Foogle fam. Global Impact, really, Dixie Doe, Hopkinson, Battleborn, Carrie Ray, Rabbit1111, Bear Claws, Chizbit, and Gaz Electric. Thank you. And then Merry Christmas, Marf and Dex, Mrs. Marf, Mrs. Dex, and family. King5583, thank you, and thank you. Thank you, everybody that supported over on DLive. It looks like the top supporter over there ended up being King, I believe. Yeah, King5583. Thank you, guys. Thank you, and thank you. Bold the Coffee, Pam Beth, Island by the Sea, and everybody else that's over there. Thank you, guys. It is now officially time for the shoutro. But you know what? I'm gonna play this video. You guys got to hear this. This is absolutely awesome. I love what Liberty or Death did here. So let's see here. I'm gonna show you right now. This I thought was just absolutely, it was so catchy. And I'm not trying to give myself a pat on the back here. It was a remix. Let's see if it plays here. Trump Red Pill, thank you. Sick. It is still awesome. By the way, if you're actually listening to this on anything good, the bass is just awesome. Big shout out. I'm going to give a shout out again tomorrow to Carol McLean. Carol McLean, thank you. And Gone Girl 777. Hi, love you all. I can't stay awake. Gone Girl 777, you'll get another shout out tomorrow. Laura R. Claire M. Thanks for going into PayPal and supporting independent. I said I was dropping, drop. Got the funky on the wow. Tell me that was not freaking amazing. Go over and subscribe to E1GHDIP3. Elgadipe, 8 dipe, ADP. Oh my gosh, I just made it. I just figured it out. ADP. Wait, 80 pipe. Okay. I'll figure it out. All right, let's make something new. And we're definitely going to throw Kevin Svensson a song here. Even if it does not end up.
Got all them books and you all know, get up. Got a Kevin Wilson song. Woo! Kevin's fashion, 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 Kevin's fashion. Got the Bible on the top with the comment on the paper and on the background. Everybody deep on beat by how we do it without on the 76 rap folk out on bet and all shit's on it early on the everybody going back around and everybody understand that.